It's very hard, I think, to you're right, to keep in mind that we are a work in progress and to be patient with ourselves. And also to not think that who you are today will work in 5 years because it might not work. That is something that I've learned from being married. Like who Bert and I were when we first got married is not the same to who we are today. And some of it is very humbling, to say, no, actually, I'm being rigid and immovable and not cool in this moment. However, this is the way I've always been. So to stop and say, the way I always been is no longer working. And to have yourself be okay with that, I think is a difficult place to be. I never witnessed that happen in my family where someone stopped and said, maybe I need to adjust myself here because the relationship I find myself in is a bit different. I don't mean that you become less of who you are or swallow yourself or take abuse. That's not what I mean. What I mean is saying, for a perfect example, my tolerance and intolerance of anxiety in my house has to constantly change. That's a very clear example for me of how my behavior I have to evaluate along with theirs, and what worked for many, many years may not work anymore. And to be able to say, that's okay. I want to change for the betterment of all of us. It's hard, I think, for some people. It's hard for me sometimes. But yeah, she seems to want to do that. She seems to want to always be her best self. And that may not be what you were last week. Best selves change, don't they? How many misogynistic jokes were super funny in the 80s? We joke all the time about every John Hughes movie has like a date rape. And it's one of my favorite, he's one of my favorite movie makers of all time. And so you have to just, instead of saying, I will never watch another John Hughes movie, I say, let me explain to you the context in which this movie was made. Okay? These things are not okay today. These things weren't okay then, but we didn't know it. We thought it was really funny, but it's not. We just
had that conversation about 16 Candles. Oy.
Did you? Yes.
I love that movie so much, but it's so problematic.
It's so problematic.
So problematic.
Right. She's so out of her mind, she won't even know. And you're like, oh my God, you just basically said you could date rape her on the way home.
Totally. And not to mention the racism. I mean, there's everything.
Everything about
really
that movie.
Checked every box in that movie. And I was like, but this was one of my all-time favorite movies. What does that say about me?
Yes, it's very hard, but you have to say that was who we were then. This is who we are now. Who we were then is not any less. It just wasn't as progressed. That's all. It's okay.
We've learned we know better, do better.
Know better, do better. That's right.